Welcome to BunniPhish Crafts. I'm your host Heather, known as BunniPhish on Instagram, YouTube, and Patreon. Today is Saturday, the 16th of January, 2021. This is episode 3. So this week's episode is back to normal podcast style because I just have not had a chance all week to record snippets. I'll talk about that more at the end, but I was thinking ahead and I was like, you know what? Let me go work my shift at the yarn shop, and then after work, it will be quiet. I won't have kids running around at the yarn shop, so I can actually sit down and record. So that's what I'm doing. I'm not committing to going back to this form of podcasting permanently, but I might mix it up between weeks, between vlogging and sitting down and talking with you. So first, let's talk about what I'm wearing. This is the, no, I don't remember. Is it the Dark and Stormy by Vera Valimaki? It'll be down at the bottom, maybe written in the show notes. I'm not linking things unless they're available off of Ravelry because I'm still having problems accessing Ravelry. Also, I have this great shadow across my face. Yay! And also my mask nose across my line. Mask line across my nose even. Oh my goodness. Should I record today? Should I? If we're already having word problems, I'm doing it. So I knit this out of Plymouth Encore. Don't know the color. And then this is the Blizzard headband by Jenna Meyer. And I knit it out of Franca, Manos del Uruguay Franca, in like the Solana colorway. I haven't finished anything this week because I just haven't had that much crafting time. You know what? I'm going to have to throw in life here just a little bit at the beginning. So my kids' school, has gone back to being in person 5 days a week, which means I'm in the school 5 days a week teaching, and then I teach 2 nights at the yarn shop, and then I work 2 days at the yarn shop. I don't do anything on Sundays, so my weekdays are super, super full. I'll probably get a lot of stuff done tomorrow, but I'll show you that next week. I'm hoping to get a lot of stuff done tomorrow. So let's talk about what I've worked on. I don't remember where any of this was last week. I know that I did not finish these things this week, but I'll show you. So first up, I have this sock. So this is a Mystic Spiral. It's a sock tube right now. I have 3 sock tubes. They all need heels. It's fine. So here's the first one. The yarn is 716 knit in 716 sock in the color, the something and beaten, trampled and beaten body of Bob Barker, I think. So this is the first one. And I have started the second, but just barely. I'm doing something new with these. I don't know if I talked about it last week, but I'm using new to me needles. So these are Addie flip sticks. Is that what they're called? Corrections will be at the bottom of the screen. I knit my socks using a US size 0, which is 2.0 millimeter needles, unless I specify otherwise, but all of these are on 0s. So here is the second sock. So it's just barely started. My plan is we don't have school on Monday, so my plan is sometime before school on Tuesday to do this first bias section, so that then I just have this part where it's straight, because I can knit while I'm working with kiddos, like as they're completing assignments, or if I'm listening to kids read or something, I can be working with my hands. So those are, if I can get it there, then I can make really good progress on the sock. And I'm going to move my beautiful progress keeper that Kalisha sent me. I'm going to move that over to this new sock so that we know that that's where it is. That's where we were this week while I showed you things. So that is this sock. I have 2 other pairs of socks that are out of the same yarn company, but in different colorways, and I'm making the same patterns, the same pattern for both socks. So I am making the Partying It Up and Getting Down sock by Megan Williams, and I have one Partying It Up and one Getting Down. And these are each half of a pair because my sister bought this yarn. It's Little Bay Blue, which is a local to me dyer. She's from Michigan. The yarn shop that I'm at, City Knits, had a trunk show of hers, and my sister bought these two striping yarns so that I could make matching socks for us. But I told her that I couldn't knit them until January. She bought this back in, I don't know, a long time ago. Since probably July or August, there was a trunk show here right when things started opening up from the pandemic. So yeah, she bought these with the intent that I would make us matching socks. So now I am making good on that so that I can use this pattern, Partying It Up and Getting Down by Megan Williams. I don't think that, no, these don't have colorway names. It's like green and charcoal and pink and charcoal is the colorway for this stripe. I will link the shop for these, not my yarn shop, but the Etsy shop for this yarn down below. Also 716 will be down below. That's its own website. Yeah, so those will be linked down below, and Instagrams if they're available. Maybe I'll do that for the designers too. Yeah, I'll do that for the designers too. That way you can find them if you want the patterns. So I only have this one done for this pair. I haven't even started the toe of the second sock for the green, but for the pink, I have this much. And I did all of this yesterday, the whole thing. This marker may have been where I was on the sock last week, because I definitely worked on this sock at school during the week. But then I finished the sock on Thursday, and I cast this on and just did the cast on before school. Didn't even do the first round before I went to school yesterday. And then I did not all of this at school, maybe like half of it during my day. And then I Zoomed with my friends last night, which was super, super nice. I also had a class, but my student didn't show up, and it was a Zoom class. So I sat for most of the class session waiting to see if they would show up, and they didn't, and just knit away on this. So there is that. I am 2 rounds past where I'm going to insert the heel. On all of these socks, I am going to be doing a afterthought heel, but it's going to be a high instep afterthought heel. I'm thinking of typing up the pattern and making it available through Ravelry, but also through like direct email sale for people who want to do afterthought heels but have higher insteps, because I know that afterthought heels don't fit me very well. The heel that fits me the very best is a heel flapping gusset, but that's just not as pretty in striping yarn. But I have figured out a little hack to do afterthought heels that are a little bit deeper. If you're interested in test knitting that, get a hold of me, because I do plan to write it up for a few different sizes. So yeah, those are my Partying It Up and Getting Down socks. I have also done some work on my Aria shawl that I'm knitting as a shop sample. I am not quite, but almost back to where I was before I had to rip out those 20 rows. So here we are. I didn't move the progress keeper, but I had to rip back to right here. So I've done all of this. Am I farther than I was when I ripped? think I might be. I think I might be one row further. Let's see. Nope, I'm one row behind where I was before I ripped that out. So I'm almost caught back up to that. I am taking this home to work on it a little bit this evening, and hopefully I will be much further the next time I show you this. The pattern is not difficult, but there are a couple places where I feel like it could have been written a little more clearly. But overall enjoyable. Did I say this was by Amba O'Brien? I don't remember if I did. So in stitch count, I'm now on the decreasing section, but I'm only about a third of the way through the shawl. So it's asymmetrical. It has a more rapid increase and then a more gradual decrease. And the yarn that I'm using for this is Berroco Providence in two colors, color 1115, and let's see if I have it. Maybe, maybe not. Oh, I do. Look at that. Number 1130. So Providence is a merino wool baby alpaca silk blend. So it's really, really luxurious. It's a single ply. It's got all of these little color flecks in it, which feel like silk noil to me. So it's really pretty. And I'm ready for it to be out of timeout so I can work on it and make progress. Everything I've showed you so far, I do want to finish by the end of the month. I think I can do it. It's only 3 pairs of socks, and one of those pairs is almost finished, and the other 2 each have a single sock. So I'm doing pretty well on that. And then I have a project that I intend to cast on today. So my friend Shayna Lines Designs put out a call for test knitters for a hat. It's called Upstanding Hat. It's a DK weight project, and I was like, I could totally do a hat. It's a very short turnaround time. It's 2 weeks for the test knit. I was like, yeah, I can do that, no problem. Because I think I have all this time. I don't know what I think. I don't think I have all this time, but it's okay. I'm going to wind up my Lola Bean Yarn Co. on the Pinto Bean base. It's a DK weight. It's superwash merino. The colorway is Trolla. This is the ZK exclusive color from last year, and I'll be winding that up today and casting on. And I think I haven't read the pattern, but looking at the pattern, I think this is something that I can also knit on while I'm at school, which is kind of where things need to be if I'm going to make rapid progress on them. Like, I can't work on the shawl at school because I have to follow rows and stuff, but and I can't really do the Mystic Spiral at school. I could maybe, like, when the kids are in technology class and all I have to do is kind of monitor that they're doing what they're supposed to do. But generally speaking, no, because I have to move around a lot. But the partying it up and getting down is just a 2-round repeat. It's really easy. I don't have to think about it. I barely have to look at it. So I think that this will also work that way, just from looking at the picture, not from reading the pattern, because that would be too much like right. The other thing that I have been working on is, but not even really, okay, I feel a little guilt because this is my blanket, and I was doing so well before we started going back in school at doing the 30 for 30 challenge that Knitty Natty is hosting over on Instagram. I was doing super well, 30 minutes at least every day. And then we went back to in-person, and no, I've barely worked on this. I don't know that I've worked on it at all this week, actually, other than I finished my square. So there you go. Oh my goodness, you can see that really well. So you can see up here, this is the beginning. I was doing the stitches wrong. Yeah, this is a Tunisian crochet square, and I was doing the Tunisian knit stitches incorrectly. And I got down here and I was like, that doesn't look right. I can barely see those cables. Like they're there, but they didn't look as standouty as they did. They didn't look as standouty as they did on the actual pattern. So I went back and I looked at the stitch description at the bottom of the chain reaction afghan. Pause. I'm making the chain reaction afghan, which comes from interweave crochet, and this is one of the squares. So I scrolled down to the bottom of the ebook, and I'll link it below. It's free if you want to crochet along with me or just crochet one eventually. So I went back and I looked, and then now you can see those cables. And you know what? I'm leaving it because for this square, for me right now, finished is better than perfect. And that looks really great. I mean, this part is fine. It's fine. Who's going to know? All right, friends, change of scenery because I forgot that I had an appointment at the library, which is behind me, to pick up a book that I had on hold. So I drove over because my phone reminded me. So now I'm here. I have a few minutes before my pickup time, so let's try to wrap up what we were talking about. I don't remember where I was because I don't, but this is, I think I was talking about this square right here. The Tunisian crochet square, which is called Tunisian Cables by Angela Grabowski. So one more time. I'm sorry that this week is more haphazard than usual. And I did finish another square. So this is called Making Links by Kristen Umdahl. And yeah, that's the right side. And clearly my cat laid on it. So here is, well, that's pretty. That looks really pretty against the window. Yeah, so the yarn that I'm using for this is obviously not this color, but it's Plymouth Encore Stars. And I have a giant bag right there in the driver's seat because the shop owner gifted me a $100 gift card. So I have said before that I was planning on just buying a skein or two each week of the yarn for my blanket, but she didn't actually give me a gift card. She said that I had $100 credit, but I had to use it all in one go, basically, for bookkeeping purposes. So I did. I bought, I think, the rest of the yarn I'm going to need for my blanket. I might need one or two more skeins, but I don't think I'm going to do the border the way it's written. And also gauge changes the amount of yardage that you need for things. And since my gauge is a little bit off, who knows? So yeah, I used up my gift balance. Anyway, I also have a couple squares in progress. So I have this one, which doesn't look like anything, but it will look really, really cool now that I have the teal. I needed that to finish the square. I didn't buy any previously. It's going to be the Over Under Square by D. Jacob Wildson. Maybe I can put in a picture here. Yeah, it's super, super cool. You weave the links over and under. And there's another one that you weave strips over and under. And that is Woven Threads by April Garwood. So I've started on those. I really, really wanted to work 30 minutes a day on that project, but it just didn't happen. Maybe next week, maybe never. But now I have, I think, all of the yarn I'm going to need for the blanket. It'll be really, really close. if I need another skein or two. So yeah, that's blanket. Did I finish talking about the test knit hat? I think I did. I hope I did. I did take just a minute to wind up that yarn before I left the shop so that it would be ready to cast on when I get home. So it looks really, really pretty in the cake. I'm excited to get this test knit cast on. Oh my goodness, you can see that words are still no good even after a little drive. Yeah, that's everything that I've been working on. So let's talk about what I have read this week. I bumped this up in my reading queue because I thought it wasn't going to renew and that it was going to be due last Sunday. And then I finished it on Sunday and the book renewed. So I didn't make a special trip to the library. This is Crown of Midnight. It's the Throne of Glass #2. It's by Sarah J. Maas. It's pretty good. Good enough that I have put the third one on hold for some time. I think it's going to come to me at the end of February. Not so good that I need to read it back to back, but longtime viewers will know that I don't generally read books in a series back to back. So I enjoyed it. I'll be reading the third one. There's more magic in this one than the first one, and I would say that I like this book better than the first one. There's still some parts in here where the main character kind of makes you want to punch her a little, but less so than in the first book. I'm sorry, I didn't realize that there was terrible glare on the cover because of the way I was holding it. And then I also finished Passing by Nella Larson, which is about, I told you about this last week, didn't I? Did I not? It's about a black woman is passing as white to have afternoon tea in New York. It's set in the 20s. It was written in 1929. So she's passing so that she can have tea where she normally wouldn't be able to have tea. And while she's having afternoon tea, she meets someone who she hasn't seen in 12 years, a girl from her neighborhood who she then finds out is married to a very racist white man. So yeah, it's really good. It took me, so it's only 107 pages or something, and it took me about 20 pages to get into it. I was like, really? I'm a quarter of the way through the book and it's not picking up for me. But then I fell into companionship with the characters and really became invested in the story. So it's really good. Highly recommend. And Nella Larson the back of the book says, this is a landmark novel about the cultural meanings of race by Harlem Renaissance premier woman writer. So highly recommend. Other than that, I am going to pick up again now that I'm finished with those. Oh, because this is due today and it didn't renew. Passing is due today. And yeah, so I wanted to finish that. I'm going to pick up I'm going to try to read 10 pages a day in A Queer History of the United States for Young People. And then I am going to pick up by Margaret Atwood, the book that I was reading, The Year of the Flood. And I think that will be pretty easy to finish this week. And if I finish that one, that will take me to 4 books finished. So it's halfway through the month. Let's talk about goals now. It's halfway through the month. And at the beginning of the month, I wanted to make 6 projects. I've now bumped that up to 7, but I finished 2 of them right at the beginning of the month. I finished one on the 3rd and one on the 4th. So that was really good. That was the virus shawl and the thrummed mittens, which, by the way, I love my thrummed mittens. I work dismissal at school now, so I've been wearing those during dismissal time, and it's been perfection. Yesterday, yesterday, I forgot what day of the week it was for a minute. It's Saturday. I was in school yesterday. It was raining and about 30 degrees. I didn't know I was going to be working dismissal. That's a new thing as of yesterday. And I didn't bring a coat, but I had one of those vest things, like I don't know, a puffy vest. What's that called? Puffy vest. So I had one of those, and I had my mittens, and I had my hat that's made out of the same yarn. And I was fine because the rain never, dismissal's only 30 minutes. So the rain never got through my hat. My hands were warm, and the coat kept me warm enough. So now that I know I'm going to be working dismissal, I'll plan for the weather a little bit better. At least I wore my boots yesterday instead of just my tennis shoes, because that would have been miserable. But anyway, as previously mentioned, for knitting projects, I have the socks at about halfway right now, considering that the second tube of one pair is almost done, but all of them still need heels. I think I'm about halfway with the knitting of the socks. So that's good. And then the shawl, I'm probably a third of the way through. I wish I was a little bit further, but having to rip out 20 rows really ate my mojo. But it is on the decrease, so there are less stitches every few rows, so there's that. So I think I should be able to meet all of those goals and now make this hat also. I think this is all really doable still, especially because we don't have school on Monday. And then my other goals that I set for myself were to read 6 books. I am now at, is this 3 finished? 2 finished? This is 2 finished. And I'm more than halfway through The Year of the Flood. I still have 2 that I haven't started yet. I don't know how far I am through A Queer History of the United States for young people. Not very far, maybe like 50 pages. So I'm a little behind on my reading goals. I really haven't been reading this past week, or really the week before. I just wasn't in the right headspace for it, but I think also I didn't have the books that I was going to read in the house because I picked them up from the library, and I leave my library books in quarantine in my car for a week. So now the ones that I picked up a week-ish ago, I can bring in my house, so they'll be looking at me from the from my shelf. So I'll be like, oh yeah, I need to get through these books so I can read these other books. So I think that will help. I'll get there. And if I don't, these are arbitrary goals. It doesn't matter. If I don't reach my knitting goals, if I don't reach my reading goals, it's fine. I just have them so that I remember, hey, these are things I wanted to do. So that's my episode. I am going to go so that I can go make myself some dinner and hang out with my kids. And, oh, let's talk about life, right? Because I said that there would be life talk at the end. So that. So we're back to school in person 5 days a week. I already mentioned that, but it bears repeating. So that's really, really different because before the holidays, we were doing hybrid. So my kids were in school 2 days a week and online 3 days a week. They are super happy to be back in school 5 days a week. I am super happy that they're back in school 5 days a week. It just makes things so much easier for all of us, really, because teaching online was not my favorite. Them learning online was not their favorite, and my son was really struggling with it. And my daughter just really missed being in a classroom setting. So that's good. It's going very well. It's different, but not bad. So yeah, I'm enjoying being back in the building. It also works really, really well for me to have where I work be separate from where I live, because I need that separation so that I can, when I'm done for the day, I have my 5-minute drive, or sometimes it's 10 minutes depending on traffic and red lights and stuff. My 5 to 10-minute drive to shift out of work mode and back into home mode, which I didn't have when I was teaching from my couch. So that's working really, really well. That's nice. And everything's going well at the yarn shop too, job wise. So that's really, really good. It's just really, really different. I am on the list, or I'm not on the list, but I'm eligible to get my vaccine. Trying to get an appointment to get a vaccine is pretty difficult. So I'm trying to do that right now, but I haven't gotten there yet. So hopefully soon. Hopefully. And I think that is the end of everything that I wanted to say today. Other than that, my face is going crazy now, having to be masked up for most of my waking hours during the week. So I have to figure out again what to do with my face, because now the weather has shifted a little. So what I was doing for my face before we went full virtual is not working now. Sensitive skin is annoying sometimes, but it's okay. All right, friends. I hope that your week has good parts to it and not just bad parts. And I will see if we meet in this sort of fashion next week, or if it's going to be little snippets. Who knows? Take care of yourself, stay safe, wear a mask, wash your hands. And if you liked this, like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you soon. Bye! I'm exhausted. Yesterday, I got home from school. I thought about doing chores and I went to bed instead, before 4 p.m. And I woke up at 7. And I stayed up with my kids for an hour until it was my daughter's bedtime. And then I went back to bed. I'm exhausted. Being back in school 5 days a week is going to be great. But just everything on top of everything, I'm so exhausted that I've barely crafted it all. But I'll show you what I have worked on. So the picture on the screen right now shows you Monday's progress. And now you can see my progress from Tuesday and Wednesday. It's about the same for those 2 days. Actually, I think it's less than what it was on Monday. Yeah, it's less. Because I have just been exhausted. I have already worked at the school this morning, and now I'm at the yarn shop. So that's where I am in my day. And this is the only project I've really, really worked on. I've done maybe 5 minutes of crochet on my chain reaction afghan, and maybe 2 or 3 rows on my shawl. But my Monday class was really full and had new people, so I didn't get a chance to knit very much during class. I will be finishing these 2 projects for one of my students. They just need to be mattress themed, so that's a service that the shop offers, so I'll be doing that today.